Welcome to another episode of the Force Diet Podcast. Wherever, whenever, and however you may be listening, we are honored that you've joined us. On tonight's episode, we're covering episodes 5 and 6 from the Book of Boba, and we asked the question, where is Boba, and is he safe? We've got a ton to dive into with the Easter eggs and the cameos. They come fast and fierce over these last two episodes. So sit back and relax. This is where the fun begins.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
Why is the Force connecting us?
I am a Jedi.
Always two there are. We're a dyad in the Force.
And welcome to episode 21 of the Force Diet Podcast. I'm your host, Obi-Sean, joined as always by my co-host with the most, Jedi-John. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited. I think this is one of the most excited times that we've pre-showed.
Yes,
ready to go.
I agree. The laughs were plentiful as we discussed kind of the talking points for this episode. But before we dive in, we've been away for a little while, and you've been working on your tan over last week.
Mexico was great.
How was it?
It was real nice. 75 and sunny. It sure as hell beat the snow.
The giant snowstorm that we got.
Yeah, I was really excited to miss it. So had a great time. Sat by the pool, got some good drinks, got some good food. Spent a lot of time with the family. It was really fun. I don't really have anything bad to say. Kid did great on both flights, on all 4 flights, because there was, layovers.
Because there's no direct. There's no direct flights.
And it was a really good time. We did good. He was a little fussy.
I was going to ask, how did he do down there?
Down there, he was fine, except for bedtime. He does not like sleeping in the pack and play, and that's the bed we had for him. Mm-hmm. And so he ended up, I'll just say spoiling my vacation a little bit. But it was still a fun time, and we really enjoyed the family time. And it was fun seeing him play in the water. It was a little chilly because it was 75 degrees in Mexico, which is cool.
Is that cold for February?
It's probably average for February, but it's cold for them. Well, over the course of the year. So that's still their winter.
And you went to Cabo?
Cabo, yeah, it was a good time.
Did you see Sammy Hagar while you're down there?
I did not. We didn't leave the resort. I left the resort one time because we underestimated a couple necessities for him. So I had to run to their local Walmart. It's impressive.
The Mexican Walmart?
Yeah, it's very impressive. It was nice. Everything was nice, and it was in a plaza, so it was quite kind of cool just to kind of see the shops that they have around. Mm-hmm. And it was a fun time. But that's the only time I left the resort. Every other time we were just on the resort because we were all inclusive. Yeah. So why would I leave?
Well, and I remember I got done watching episode 5, and I texted you. I'm like, so when do you want to record? And you sent me this picture of you sitting in the airport in Mexico, and I'm like, oh, you're on vacation.
Yep, that's the thing. Yeah.
So, but the good news is now we get to talk about 5 and 6,
which is great because I feel like we completed a little bit of an arc there again.
I guess we'll find out when we get the finale on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, there's still a cliffhanger there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, So without any further ado, we'll just dive right into episode 5, the return of the Mandalorian. So just to recap briefly, and then we'll go into the things we really enjoyed. I think we kind of knew that we were going to get Mando at the end of episode 4 with the with his audio cue.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get him at the very beginning.
I didn't think we were going to get a whole episode of him.
Mm-mm.
But I knew we'd get him early on in the episode because I figured Fennec would reach out. I figured it was going to be more of a communication thing versus, hey, let's just catch up with Mando.
Yeah, it felt like the first episode of season 3.
Yeah.
Of the upcoming Mando season. So, it was just, it gets off to a phenomenal start. You're in a meatpacking plant with a bunch of Klatooinians.
Yeah.
And he walks into the back room and is he's on the hunt for bounty, just like we've seen him in the past. And turns out the man behind the table is the bounty, and chaos ensues. And we get to see the Darksaber in action.
Yeah, for the first time in the Mando's hand.
For first time in live action. I mean, outside of his duel with Gideon,
Right.
you actually get to see it used.
Right.
And he doesn't hesitate to use it.
No, it was his go-to. I was really waiting. I'm like, they're gonna whistling birds this guy again. Like, all of them are gonna die, idiots. And then, oh no, we're not gonna do that. It was awesome.
And he just goes all Punisher / John Wick / pick your action hero and just slashes him in half.
I still
on
cannot.
screen.
I cannot believe Disney was like, you know what? This is okay. I could not. I had to show my wife that scene, and I'm like, just so you know, we're gonna get a rated a adult only Disney Plus at some point. I don't know when it's gonna happen. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, come watch this scene real quick and tell me it's not coming. And then she's like, yeah, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I know. And then she questioned why they all look like dogs. And I'm like, well, it's their race.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Why do they look like they're all Cleveland Browns fans?
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to TK out there.
TK, listening hard, Browns fan.
But and this all takes place apparently. The episode opens, and I felt like we had been transported to Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
the
on
ring.
on the ring.
Yeah.
And so clearly Mando needs to put in some more practice with his Darksaber because he ends up slashing up his left thigh. But the whole purpose of him hunting this bounty was to get info on where his Mando brethren, the covert, is located. And so we get to see the armor, Emily Swanson, and Paz Vizsla again, who I forget, is he voiced by? Is he played by Favreau?
I don't know if Favreau is in the suit, but it's voiced by him.
Okay, gotcha. And so he comes up, he finds the covert, which is awesome. It's got the secret mythosaur,
It looks really cool.
The secret mythosaur symbol over the door, and so we get to see the armor again. We get to see Paz Vizsla, and we get the backstory on the Darksaber. For the non savvy Star Wars fan who might not know about Tar Vizsla and the history of the Darksaber, they kind of give you a crash course.
We got that Mandalore. We got to see the what is it? Is it the Night of 1,000 Tears?
Oh yes,
yeah, we got to see that too. So that was really awesome to kind of see that flashback. And that quick history lesson that everyone always complained about. Oh, well, Bo-Katan was just handed it. Well, they explained why that happened and now what happened and really just went into detail on what happens with the prophecy of the Darksaber.
Right, and that's great for, again, the casual Star Wars fan who's maybe just coming into this series or just, Mando and then into Boba, not having the Rebels background, not having, the other sort of animated history of Clone Wars as well, the animated history of the weapon. So, and of course, the whole discussion of you must win it in combat was leading right into.
Oh, we knew.
Paz is going to challenge him, but before that,
did you see how he looked at it?
It was almost like he was entranced. He pulled it out of his pocket and he's like, I have not seen that. And, it's like I've heard stories of this, right?
Yeah, sort of thing. The whole Holy Grail, so to speak, for him especially.
Right, and so we get this kind of little training thing before the battle where he's trying to Mando's trying to wield the saber, and the armor's like, it gets heavier the more you fight it, basically. And it looks like he's just swinging around a giant sledgehammer.
Well, that's the first thing I saw in that first fight too. I'm like, man, he's really struggling to swing that thing, and I'm like, what is going on? And then it gets all explained by the armorer, which is really nice. And she just kind of toys with him, similar to a stormtrooper.
Well, her hammers are made of Beskar, which is cool because she's just deflecting the saber off with her hammers. It's really awesome. Yeah. But yeah, so he swings, he falls into the abyss. Actually, for a second I forgot he had his jetpack on. I was like, well, season 3 is going to be really boring.
He remembered how to use it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Right, and so then we get the battle between him and Paz, and again, you can see him laboring while swinging the saber, but he manages, I think, with a vibroblade or something like that. He kind of quick hits him. Mando quick hits Paz.
Yeah. Well, he gets disarmed first,
Right.
and then he regains his composure and figures it out. But yeah.
So then we get the whole, went from a judgment-free zone to heavily judged.
Super judged.
And the armor asks, Paz, have you ever taken off your helmet? No. Mando, have you ever taken off your helmet? And you can just envision his face, and he's just like,
Yep, here we go.
So yeah, it turns out he can't be a Mandalorian anymore, because he's part of the Death Watch cult, more or less.
Yeah, and it completely set up season 3 Mando. We're going to Mandalore.
Going back to Mandalore.
We're going to Mandalore to just what is it? Appease for his sin.
Yeah, he's got to go into some fountain or some basin or whatever and be cleansed of his
sins,
of his shame.
I told you they're not a cult.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you brought shame upon your foundling family. So he's off on his quest. He takes back the Darksaber, which actually for a second I thought that they were gonna be like, yeah, you can't have this anymore because you're not a Mando. But he takes it with him, and he's now he's without transport. Again, I didn't expect this to be a fully Mando episode, but we get that scene where he's boarding a transport.
Hilarious. He's just a person.
He's getting the TSA treatment, and it's like no weapons, and he's dumped out his little whistling birds. He's pulling out the secret, his secret vibroblade, his pistol, and then throws the Darksaber into the case, and it's just funny. Even Mando's got to deal with TSA.
Damn TSA.
So
I did not have to empty out all my weapons. Surprisingly,
no,
on the trip,
no,
they didn't make me. They didn't stop me at all.
They didn't. No,
actually, they did. Baby food purees were in the.
Oh,
in the
you didn't. You
bag.
didn't put them in your liquids bag.
Oh, you they don't make you take them anything out.
Oh,
anymore.
right. Because of the TSA stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we get this. Well, you can see him looking out, longing for Grogu in this scene, right? And we forgot to mention that he has the armor melt down his spear and turn it into a little gift for Grogu.
Basically, the coolest weapon that we've seen in a long time just got taken away.
Well, I have to admit, as soon as he pulled out the Darksaber, I'm like, why does he even carry the spear around anymore? And then 5 minutes later, I had my answer, and I was like, oh, it's going to get melted down and turned into a piece of armor for Grogu. And we get the scene of the chain, the little chain links, so you assume it's going to be a piece of chainmail, which is confirmed in episode 6.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We're going to get to it, guys. Don't worry about it.
Right. So we get he goes back to Tatooine, or he takes the transport to Tatooine. He ends up back in the Mos Eisley loading dock with Amy Sedaris.
Yeah.
Sedaris. I want to say Sudeikis. Sedaris.
Yeah, Jason.
Right.
Sudeikis.
Exactly. And we get some fun back and forth between them. He's looking for a replacement Razor Crest.
She had a Razor Crest. No,
it wasn't a Razor Crest. She had this really cool old vintage Naboo Starfighter.
Thank you, Lego. Thank you, Vintage Collection Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like all the toy companies just saw that scene and they're like, ka-ching. We're about to make a lot of money.
You mean the second market holders?
Uh-huh. Yeah, so, and we get BD, well, we get a BD unit that looks an awful lot like BD-1. And so we get this whole montage of them rebuilding the Naboo Starfighter to be really sort of awesome.
I mean
it looks amazing, for the whole sort of steampunk. I don't want to say steampunk, but it's got that open, like it's not clean, it's not finished. It's rough around the edges, which is very much Mando. So it fits him perfectly. You get the funny discussion about her relationship with some Jawas.
Didn't need to know about them being so furry. Didn't need to know that. Could have left that to the imagination. Just saying.
And then we get the cool, what was it? It was the rod that
Ah, yes.
It was like not the hyperdrive rod, but it was and it looked identical to the one, only shorter.
It was. It's what it was for a smaller ship.
To the one that's in the trash compactor in episode 4. So I mean, you're getting so many little fun Easter eggs, and like during the building sequence, BD1 throws up the hologram. The BD unit,
yeah,
throws up the hologram just like they do in Jedi Fallen Order to show you where it's supposed to go. And it was just.
It was a cool moment. Like there's a lot of cool moments in the episode, and a lot of callbacks and a lot of Easter eggs.
For sure. And so then they finish building the ship, and we fly. It's almost a recreation. It is a recreation of the pod race scene. No. They fly through Boonta. He flies through Boonta Eve.
This is pod racing.
It was. I actually got goosebumps when I saw that.
I saw the ramp. The entry to the canyon and then the ramp. I'm like, oh.
And then he flies to Beggar's Canyon, or through Beggar's Canyon, and you see the Womp Rats, and again, all of the Easter eggs, and it finishes with him landing back on the landing pad, and her asking how it was, and his response was wizard. And again, everyone's just like, just the episode 1 callbacks.
It was just so good.
It was fantastic.
The whole episode was just so well done, and it was a great Mando episode.
It was. So before we talk about the things we liked, the things maybe we didn't like so much, what are you looking up the rating? So what would you give it for out of 10?
For me, the episode was a 9. Mm-hmm. It was a 9 for me. Mm-hmm. Now.
No, we're keeping it positive.
Okay,
we're keeping it positive.
I'll stop there then. 9.
Okay.
It's a 9. The episode was honestly, the episode was probably 9.5 for me.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty excellent.
As far as the episode is concerned, for me, it's a 10. Like it's a 10 out of 10 episode for so many reasons. Obviously, you get all the Easter eggs, but you get the action, you get the backstory, you get
so many things.
You get so many things, and for a 45-minute episode, it just had everything.
Yeah.
And so as an episode is concerned, it was.
They filled the time so well. It honestly flew by. That was it.
I didn't feel bored at all watching that episode.
The episode was so fantastic, and like I said, a 9.5. Like that's it. Right. They could have done a couple things that I would have loved to see, but other than that, it was a fantastic episode
for sure. And again, they saved themselves from having to do all of this in the Mando season. So they've already, like you said, they've kind of set it up so they can just dive straight into
whatever story they're going for.
Wherever they're going to end up going. And there's still a couple pieces left to fit into that puzzle.
Yeah, we'll get to it,
which we'll get to. But as an episode as a whole, it's unfortunately or unfortunately, it's the best episode
of Boba Fett.
of the Book of Boba Fett is the Mando episode. Bryce Dallas Howard did
fantastic
a phenomenal job directing.
She's done great with all the episodes she's had for The Mandalorian and this. She got a lot of hate for some of the Mando stuff she did because it was like callbacks to like, oh, you did the footprint, really original kind of thing. And I'm like, shut up. Just go somewhere else on Twitter and just bury yourself. I don't care about you. Like, that episode was a fun episode in Mando. Like, it was good, and it was a lot of building for Mando. We kind of saw him get a love interest. Mm-hmm. We saw that he was going to leave Grogu, but then realized he couldn't because of the threat. So, anyway, that's my sidebar on Bryce
Dallas
Howard.
But that's the thing. So you have that attachment to Grogu in season 1 of Mando,
right?
And you get to play back to it here. And they even tied up his chain mail.
Oh, it looks like his head.
It looks like his head. So there's that connection back to her. Her. It's all connected, but the episode she specifically directed.
Right.
There's that callback through that connection between him and Grogu.
It's a circle.
Oh yes, it is a circle. Wax on, wax off. But as far as a Boba Fett episode, 0 out of 10. Well, we'll give it a 1 because Fennec does show up at the very end.
Yeah, Fennec's in it, so it's a 1 out of 10 for Boba. IMDb had it at at a 9.4.
Okay.
It was a fantastic episode. I literally can't really find many complaints. My only complaint is I signed up.
Well, hold on. Before we, because that really rolls into episode 6.
It does.
So,
we can move on.
But yeah, I mean, the episode 5, great Mando episode, really leads in well for.
And you needed some of those details. Like, it totally makes sense why we got that stuff. And we knew he had to reconnect with Fennec, so we got there. And so the ending scene was Fennec saying, hey, if we need you, and for some reason he's not taking payment.
Yeah, it's on the house.
Idiot.
I don't know why he owes him anything.
She threw him a bag of credits, and he's just like, you know what? I don't need these. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Anyway, fuel's expensive. No.
Right. Well, I mean, now that they've got this, he's got the smaller starfighter. He doesn't.
Well, if you think about Spaceball, I mean, you can't pay for even fuel with this. Anyway, sorry. But God, I love Spaceballs. Anyway, I lost my total train of thought because now I'm just thinking about Spaceballs.
That's okay. Just run with it. I mean,
Damn, Bill Pullman.
I mean, if you're talking, I mean, you're gonna talk about Mog. You're gonna talk about Dark Helmet.
Oh boy. Anyway,
we're pivoting to a Spaceballs discussion.
Yeah, we're just gonna call it the Spaceballs podcast. No. But it ends with him saying, "I gotta go see a friend." Okay, cool.
Right. So we know where he's gonna go see or try and see Grogu.
Yeah.
And so episode 6, from the desert comes a stranger, and it's you get Manda. I forget. Is it Manda or Cobb that opens it up?
I think it's Cobb with the pikes.
Right, with
opens
the pikes.
It, right?
Oh yeah, because it opens on the desert scene, which makes sense.
Which I really thought was the stranger in the quote unquote air quotes confirmed. Stranger.
I did not expect to see Cobb Vanth in this episode.
Oh yeah, well I didn't expect it, but when I saw a desert comes from the stranger, and then I saw the pikes with Cobb Vanth, I'm like, oh, maybe the pikes are the stranger. Should have thought about that more later, but anyway,
right.
Hindsight's 2020.
So you get that fun interaction between him and the Pikes. They're trying to run Spice.
Man, he plays that so well, though.
Timothy Oliphant is such a good actor.
I tell folk what to do.
Well, it's like he's in the FX show.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but
he plays a similar thing. Like he plays the cowboy. Sort of police officer.
Is it Justified or something?
Justified.
Like that? Yeah.
That is it. Yep. So it's almost like the same sort of accent he uses in that he puts into Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, he really pulled out more Western accent in this episode for sure.
Well, and they dressed him, with the giant bandana around his neck too. I mean, it was the themes, the Western themes in this, and it's a callback to obviously episode 1 of season 2 of Mando with the Marshal, and then you get later on you get the feeling from Bad Batch, the sort of standoff stuff. You get a couple of those. This is the first one you get where we get that standoff between him and the 4 Pikes, and he takes down 3 of them in very quick succession.
Yeah, didn't spend a lot of time there.
No, so
I love how that guy's the smartest one too, because he didn't have his gun with him.
He left it in the car.
Idiot.
But and then he leaves the spice as payment, which then Vanth promptly kicks over and sets to the wind.
By the way, damn if they don't steal everything from Dune. Like, I don't know. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen Dune.
Oh, goodness. It's the exact same color. It's the exact same looking texture.
Like that kind of orange,
yeah,
gold.
It's literally like they went to the planet and said, "Oh, we're gonna take the spice off this planet and just bring it to Tatooine." It's the same world, right? No, but no, it's just it was it looks identical, which is just ridiculous that they did that. But anyway, hilarious.
Yeah, so then you get the title card, Book of Boba, and the whole desert comes a stranger, and then it cuts to Mando flying to a very green planet. I think my theory, and maybe it's not a theory, I don't know, is that it's going to be Agen Kloss, which is the moon that Luke trained Leia at or on. And so it would make sense kind of from a timing perspective because he would have already trained her. she would have gone off to be part of the New Republic and everything like that, and he would be left behind to set up kind of his Jedi Academy. But we learn that obviously he's looking for Luke. Our second cameo, we get R2.
Yeah, that little radar pops up, and we know it immediately. Oh, that's R2.
Right, and so and he's talking with Mando, and he takes him to this hut thing that they're building, and you get.
I love this so much.
You get the seed, the comedy with the hut droids, basically, the builder droids, and they're collecting sticks of bamboo and a few rocks, and because R2's basically shut himself off, and they build him
a bench. Yeah, literally, Mando just looks around. Is that a bench? Like, are you serious? You want me just to sit here?
I mean, it's just the way that it's delivered, the way it's written. It's just it's kind of just out of left field. It's out of left field. Just kind of the humor, and the way the way he delivers it. Just like, all right, and so he ends up falling asleep, or laying down, relaxing, and we get our first introduction to deepfake Luke, beyond what we saw in the hallway, and Grogu.
Yeah.
And this part, it takes up the next probably 10-15 minutes of the episode is this training sort of montage coupled with our fifth cameo at this point of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Mando waking up to see Ahsoka there and wanting to go see Luke because he has his gift to give him. And you get the whole back and forth of, Grogu has an attachment to you if he sees you, and, it's going to make it harder for him to break away. And
I'm sorry, but man, the man that has no facial expression ever has made me feel more emotion. And I think it's hurt me now that I've had a kid, and I can see he's that close to seeing his little buddy, and he can't go see him. It hurts.
Well,
it hurts.
And he
had
realized,
a gift.
And he realized he has that realization, right?
Yeah.
I want to do this, but I know that I can't. And it's that back and forth between him and Ahsoka that you can see it, the mentality kind of shift. And
if he wasn't crying underneath that helmet.
Yeah, and it's a credit to the way that Pedro Pascal voices Mando and
the writing
and the actor. I mean, I assume it's him most of the time under there unless it's a stunt.
Yeah.
So just the way that he carries himself, like you said, for someone who has literally no facial expression, so much emotion is conveyed through his voice and his mannerisms. And you feel genuine sadness as he looks out on them on the hill, and it's just like, he's there, and I can't go see him, and he leaves and just says, just make sure he's protected, and he gives the gift to Ahsoka. But you get the fun training montage. You get another cameo with the training remote.
It was good.
Which you get Luke and Grogu running through the swamp just like he did with Yoda.
You know what I was surprised with about the training droid was because Grogu just got sick of it and just force crushed it.
And Luke's
like, good job. And I'm like, that's not the skill you want to teach this kid.
This is the man who just went down the hallway and just force crushed death troopers left and right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Excellent. I mean, it has to be said that I felt, for those who played Battlefront 2 and have played the campaign, he looked, because of the fake, the fake face and everything like that, he looked so much like Battlefront 2 Luke.
I thought it was well done. I thought the face looked good, better than it did in Mando, the finale. I think it looked good. The only problem I had with it was they got to work on the voiceover still. And I mean, we're talking about 10 months of they really worked on that face. So they fixed the biggest complaint that people had about the finale of Mando season 2. So they're making progress, which is great. The voice, again, I'm guessing I'm pretty sure it was Mark Hamill again.
Yeah, it was. because he's credited at the end.
Oh, is he? I missed. I didn't pay too much. I watched it.
He was given an and.
I watched it.
He was an and.
Okay.
Mark Hamill.
So like he was probably the voice again, the same as last time. So they're de-aging that. Like I don't know what they're gonna do, but they got to figure out the voiceover and the lips, and I mean they just have to figure that out because everything else looked so good, and then he starts talking.
Yeah, the ventriloquist dummy like feel to it, where the mouth doesn't match the words, is really kind of off-putting.
Right, but overall he looked great, and Grogu did exactly what you would expect him to be doing. It was kind of cute with the pickup. Let's go for a walk. Except he picks him up half the time with the Force to keep him up with his pace. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and that whole montage I think was a lot of fun.
Well, and then Luke goes, when Grogu fails, he goes, "Don't try, do," and so you get that callback to Yoda.
He really should have played it up. He should have done it.
He should have. It would have been funny to hear Mark Hamill try and do a
Do or do not. There is no try.
Something like that, and you get the sort of this is a little bit later, but you get the choice that.
Oh yeah, we're skipping way ahead.
I know, but it's part of the Luke Grogu arc. It's really not related at all to the rest of the episode.
Yeah, well,
if you want spaced out.
So if you want to finish that arc, then yeah, I mean, you've got Luke. Got the gift from Ahsoka. Ahsoka was like, "Yep, he brought this," and we get back to the finished now beehive.
Yeah. Well, and I love how she's like, this. He's learning quick, and I don't know that I'm so much teaching him as he is remembering. Which the flashback. The Order 66 flashback.
We did skip that. That was awesome.
In the Jedi Temple.
Live action clones.
What?
Live action Jedi.
Awesome.
Looked fantastic.
Looked so good.
The blue.
Those 501st Troopers looked
goodness.
Amazing. And I was trying to see if, for a second, the Jedi immediately in front looked like Jocasta Nu.
Yes.
But I know it isn't her.
And then the other one looked like Luminara.
The
one to the right looked like Luminara. I know it's not her.
Right.
I don't think it's her.
Well, I was trying to tell from the saber that fell if it was like a recognizable saber, if it was just kind of a generic saber. It didn't jump off the page
Jocasta
to me.
Nu one though, it wouldn't have been.
It's not her. I know it's not her because
we saw her.
Correct. She survives the temple attack. Like we know that.
We know.
We know that she dies to Vader down the line. But that whole scene, the flashback, let me help you remember. It makes you think, okay, well, they were walking right towards him, and then we cut away. So, who saves him, right? That's the whole big. Who picks him up and runs away with him?
I really thought we were going to get the home planet for his species, and I was ecstatic. I'm like, come on. But what we got, so much better.
Was excellent.
It was so much better.
It's fantastic. And so, but yeah, he's not so much learning as he is remembering. And she, I forget what prompted it, but Ahsoka makes the comment, you're, just like your father, and you can kind of see Luke smile, and it makes you want to have just like 10 minutes of them talking, and maybe we'll get
the first time we saw them on screen together.
Correct.
Ever.
And so maybe we get in the Ahsoka series, or I mean, with the deep fake stuff, I mean, they could do it as much as they want.
Well, and anytime they plug Luke Skywalker somewhere, the ratings just skyrocket.
Explode. So, but yeah, to finish the arc, they end up in the finished hut, and Grogu's presented a choice, and he's shown the chainmail that Mando has had made for him, which is adorable.
Looked like I gifted you a sweater, and you put it in the dryer, and all of a sudden
it shrunk to about 5% of its size.
It was hilarious. I mean, it did look a little funny to see on screen, but
it was so tiny.
I was so tiny.
It was like what you put on one of your toy dogs, like
your
little
it was
like a toy
dog
Yorkie.
sweater.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was cool. I mean, I get it. I mean, it had to be small. I mean, it has to fit him. So, But it was cool. It was a chainmail shirt, basically, a T-shirt
of Beskar.
of Beskar,
Which will obviously protect him from blaster bolts and
lightsabers.
And
Pretty valuable to a Jedi, you would think.
Given what we know about the Jedi temples down the road.
Or the previous ones.
Accurate. So he starts to move for it. And he's like, "Oh, yep, I want that." And then, nope. Here's a box.
I knew what was in the box right away. I knew exactly what it was.
And so we get Yoda's. I'm going to use air quotes because technically it doesn't. The hilt doesn't match the saber that Yoda had in Attack of the Clones, but nevertheless, it is Yoda's saber as it's described on screen, and it's again, it looks like it's cute, it's tiny, it looks like the lightsaber a kid would get at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
when they don't want to pay the $230 for
and the energy
one.
The energy blade was like half the size. Yeah.
So he's presented the choice: either you take the mail and you go back with Mando, or you take the saber and you become my first pupil of his new Jedi Academy.
And then leave us on a cliffhanger.
And then he just stares at the screen, and then it cuts to the end of the episode. But
just real quick, let's sit on this. Let's sit on it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I hated it.
You hated what?
I hated this scene. I hated it.
You hated that scene?
Yeah.
Why?
It shows me that the Luke we got in the sequels grew a whole lot, which was good. It's a good thing, right? But I hated it because what he has learned has been from books and the texts, because he's been studying the Jedi texts, because that's he doesn't have a master.
Right. Well, he went and rounded up all the relics, all the books and everything like that. He collected them all.
So that's what he's learning from. And that's what the Jedi's downfall was originally. So it all kind of makes sense on how we got to where we were, because he used the same hubris and not same info, but same like choose one or the other. You can't be both. You're an idiot.
Right.
You're being an idiot.
Because you can't have he says
Yeah.
you can't have the attachment, and it's like no.
No, somebody tell him. Somebody some
I must
Force
scream
ghost,
it from the mountain.
Some Force ghost, please tell this man. Tell this man he's wrong. But that's the only reason I don't like it, just because I know the ending of the story there.
That's
I know.
true. We do know how it's going to end.
Yeah, but at the same time, it totally makes sense. And I just love to hate his confidence. I love to hate it. He's like, you'll be a great Jedi master. What? How do you know? Have you ever trained a Jedi? No, you have. Well, maybe you trained one, maybe Leia, right? But like, how do you know he's going to be a great Jedi master? You don't know. You don't know. Come on.
Sure.
But he's super confident because he is.
Well,
Luke
he just,
Skywalker.
and he just kind of defeated the Emperor and kind of saved his dad.
Is that a big deal? Or
It was a few years ago, but maybe not so much now.
But yeah, that's just it though. But it just shows that confidence and almost like a cockiness, an overconfidence of if you stay with me, you'll be a great Jedi, and you can't have both. Even though one of these tools would be very helpful while wielding the other tool. But hey, who am I?
Well, he's very much like Anakin was, right? He has that confidence about him. He knows that he is great and good, and he's a great pilot, and he's a great duelist, and all that stuff. And we obviously know from the later stuff, the later comics and stories, that he is one of the strongest Jedi ever. And so it makes sense that they would obviously portray it that way.
Yeah.
To keep it.
This honestly
consistent.
is exactly the Luke that I expected
That you
to
would
get.
expect.
But at the same time, knowing the sequels and everything else, like you're just like, ooh, this led to the downfall. Idiot. You idiot. Fix it.
So we'll come back to that to talk about, kind of some thoughts about where we're going to be going after we wrap up the rest of the episode. So Mando jets off from the planet, heads to Boba's palace. Jabba's palace, Boba's hideout. And fortunately, we have confirmation Boba is safe.
Oh, he's alive, yeah.
But he has taken to a vow of silence. And his theory is to walk softly and carry a big rancor. or ride a big Rancor. I guess we'll find out. But we have this whole planning scene with the holotable. The entire time, Fennec is speaking.
First lieutenant runs it, not the captain.
That's right, not the general, not any. He just stands there in his brutish way, and
he is very brutish.
He's
brooding the whole time.
Brooding. That's the word. Thank you. And so Fennec's, given the rundown about how the crime families are going to stay out of the way and let the Pikes take over and everything like that. And then Manda walks in. Is like, I know where I can find some help because they don't have enough soul. They're like, we have Mando and Black Chrysanthemum.
So now we have a lot of muscle.
We have enough muscle. You have 2 people.
Clearly, those 2 people will kill a lot of people.
That's true, but I mean, it's the way that it was delivered.
It was really funny.
We have enough muscle now to just kind of keep things in line, but we don't have people. All right, Mando's going to run off and go visit his old buddy Cobb to try and round up the settlers.
Pelgo? Yeah, Pelgo.
Yeah.
That is now Freetown.
That was hilarious. So first of all, he lands the starfighter, and this rando guy, the deputy, you can't park there, and just is trying to be all tough and
meter maid.
He's just trying to be all tough and hey, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. And so Cobb comes out. Yeah, it's he's still learning. He's what he called him trigger happy.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And well, at first when it first panned on him, I thought it was I can't think, the guy who plays Icarus, just from Eternals.
Oh, really? Oh no,
Richard Madden.
Yeah,
only a bit fuller and with a beard. And then I quickly realized it wasn't him.
No, it was not him. I do enjoy some Richard Madden though. Yeah.
But it's funny because Mando gets out and they're exchanging pleasantries. He's like, "Can I buy you a drink?" It's like they were on a date. It's like he was courting them, which I guess in a way he is because he's about to ask them for help.
Huge favor.
But can I buy you a drink? It's like he's the marshal. He probably drinks for free.
As he should.
But the whole discussion back and forth, the Freetown, the barkeep saying it's Freetown now. I'm sorry, what? So and you get that back and forth. Cobb tries to play it off like he doesn't know that the Pikes are already running spice through his territory, through his area, and that's what he says to the barkeep after Mando leaves, and he's like, round him up, yeah, but that's not our fight. It will be once I tell them what
I know
what
already.
I know.
Yeah.
And so then we get to the stranger in the desert reveal, and you have this shadowy figure.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It felt like, the man with no name, Sergio Leone. It's the spaghetti Western awesomeness, which I could use some more Western in my Star Wars, frankly. And we get Cad.
The reveal of his eyes.
Awesome.
So freaking good.
And Cobb ushers everybody in, but because he knows what's coming. He knows there's going to be a standoff. And as I was worried. So first of all, I was slow out of the gate, and I kind of had the whole Cad reveal ruined for me. That's my own fault. But I didn't know who played him, and I was so worried that it was going to be not
anyone else,
not Corey Burton. Yeah. And he started to speak, and I was like, "It's Corey Burton," and because Corey Burton is Cad Bane, and any other voice would have just ruined it. So I'm so thankful that it was him in live action. The teeth
looked great.
Awesome. The respirator, you could hear it hissing while he breathed, while he took his breaths. Like the realization of Cad Bane was, I know some people were complaining about some of the makeup. Oh my
gosh.
But
get over it.
The second he lifted his hat and you saw the eyes, like
so good. So good.
Amazing. And
then we get the hat discussions too. If I hear one more dang hat discussion.
What? There's a hat discussion?
It was supposed to be bigger.
Oh, jeez.
Come on. It's supposed to be bigger.
It's smaller now. We know from Bad Batch that it's a smaller hat.
It's supposed to be bigger, Sean. Don't argue with me because I'll argue with you all day. No, I'm kidding.
That's right.
I don't care about his damn hat because it looked so good. Like he looked good.
Mm-hmm. And the costuming was
on
point.
like putting stuff up on YouTube. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Stop ruining things for me. I loved it. He was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it alone. Just, sorry. Like, that's my opinion. Whatever.
We love to nitpick things, don't we?
People do. I nitpick a lot, but that was one thing that I'm like, just let it go. Like, we literally went through this last season with the Ahsoka. Oh, those are too short. No, they are not functional.
Right.
In live action.
Well, no, they have to function because
that's right.
Like they have to be. They have to allow her to do
what you want.
Right.
What you want is not functional.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And so we get the whole the monologue between Cobb and Cad, and it's fantastic. And then you have the idiot deputy off on the side,
Who didn't go inside?
he did,
He
and then
doesn't follow
he
orders.
kind of he's his first day.
Yeah. He needed.
What?
You need crosshair. Good soldiers.
Good soldiers follow orders. But you get the exposition about Boba that Cad gives about him being a bloodthirsty killer who works for the Empire, and you're just like, where is that Boba? Because I haven't seen him yet, and I know we have to be patient. We must be patient.
I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it, man.
But you have
Just do it.
Right. So you get this back and forth between him and he's just like, don't work for Boba and you'll be fine. You won't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
You won't have to worry about a thing. And you get this standoff, the whole Mexican standoff feel where Cobb's looking out of his left eye. They've all got their hands on the pistol. And, the idiot deputy makes a move. Cobb makes a move. Bingo, bango, bongo. The deputy gets,
We should use Cobb first, which is smart.
Cad shot the marshal, and he blew away the deputy.
He really did.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
That deputy caught 3 shots.
3 shots to the chest. Dude was not getting up. I think Cobb survives.
I think Cobb survives also because he's going to rally the town to Boba's cause now.
Right, and because it looked like he got hit in the shoulder, or like
In the right
shoulder. So away from all the vital organs.
That's away from the heart, people. That's away from the heart.
We are opposite. We are in the opposite half. So, but you get it's for what he was on screen for 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And just like in Bad Batch,
Stole the whole
stole
show.
it. And I know people will talk. I saw a funny meme from the Jurassic Park where he's sitting with Cad and he's like, "Look here, the best cameo." See, nobody cares. They just want baby Grogu, or they just want to see Grogu. But no, Cad stole. He was exactly how you'd expect Cad to be.
Yeah.
In live action, right? Like he was his character.
I thought they did that so well, and they brought him in at the right time, and he's representing the Pikes, obviously. So we're gonna get a standoff again, and I can't wait for it next. I mean, I hope it comes next episode, and if not, I hope they build towards it. So I'm hoping we get a season 2 for what we're doing.
I think that's the way it's trending, but yeah. So then you get, Cad walks off, and you kind of think episode over. Although we know that they have the Grogu Luke thing, but then we go back to Mos Espa, and you got the 2 Pikes walking into Madame Garce's
Pleasure Palace,
den of pleasure, and they walk in. They've got their ice cream mixer, which is full of credit. Well, we last saw it full of credits, and for a second I actually thought she was in on some of the spice running. She was running it out of the back room, right? So they come in, they sit down, waited on by the protocol droid, offered to have their helmets removed and everything like that. And that's the thing, because she sees them walk in, and and then they get up to leave, and I mean, it's not funny, I suppose.
It is, that poor droid.
I mean, the droid's like, and she realizes as soon as they walk out, and the protocol droid goes, they left their, I forget what it's called.
Quintono.
Thank you. And you get the big explosion, and they totally godfathered them. Like, they didn't even take the cannoli.
No.
They left the bomb, and they just left, and they left. And so, well, that was my theory crushed immediately that she was in on it. So the Pikes are now
making moves,
attacking on Boba's turf, and then we cut back to Luke and they do the handoff or the choice, and we end the episode. So as far as the episode is concerned, what would you give it for a rating?
I'm giving it a 9.
Okay.
Would
you like to expand upon that? What did you like about it?
So I loved Cad. I enjoyed the training montage for Luke and Grogu. It was cool to see Ahsoka again on widescreen. I think everything they did was great in the episode. It's hard to complain about the episode. I only have one, and it's the same for 2 in a row now. And some people will say, get over it. And I look at those people the same way they look at me. And yep, I look at them and say the same thing they say to me.
Right.
So, and there's plenty of words you can say. And you can have a difference of opinion. That's what makes Star Wars great, along with every other fandom that we're in. But for me, I signed up for something that I don't feel like I'm getting for 2 episodes in a row now. And it's 2 out of 7 episodes.
That's the thing. We don't have, 14, 15 episodes to kind of, like where Bad Batch sometimes felt like you're like, where's the Bad Batch, or where's this character, where's that character, or what have you. It's a lot more noticeable when you have a much shorter season.
But you're talking about the title character.
His name is on the show.
Was in the last 2 episodes for 45 seconds to a minute and a half, and
Didn't
0 lines.
Didn't say a word.
No words. So it's frustrating for me because Boba is my favorite, like literally my favorite character. Like I got a new piece of artwork I need to hang on my wall. Like he is my favorite character. So when I signed on for the Book of Boba Fett, I thought I was going to get more Boba, and the last 2 episodes have been very Mando heavy, which have been very good. Like, I can't complain about the episodes themselves. It's the fact that they're happening right now. And this episode made a little more sense for Book of Boba because they are trying to get more muscle. So Mando was on behalf of Boba going out there because he's their friend. That makes sense. The Grogu stuff and Luke stuff, that's completely extra, just pushing Mando's story along, which is, again, we need some of this stuff because Mando season 3, I just want to jump right into the story. I don't need this stuff. Like, this stuff was needed, and now we have it, which I'm very happy with. And I'm happy how it happened, just not where it happened. So that's just my only gripe. But I'd give it a 9 because I got to take a full point off for 30 seconds of Boba with no lines.
Yeah, I'm going to give it probably around the same 9.5 for similar reasons. For me, the Luke Grogu training stuff, again, I understand it's to facilitate Mando's sort of arc in letting Grogu go, for lack of a better word, or follow his own path.
Oh, Grogu's coming back to Mando. Come on.
Yeah,
they've got a seat built for him in the ship.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe he takes R2 instead.
Right.
Because Mando's a big fan of droids. But it didn't fit for, like, the whole Grogu training was cute. It was fun to see get some of the exposition from Luke, some of those Easter eggs, those line-based Easter eggs like from Yoda. But it for me, it didn't fit here. Like, it didn't fit in a Boba Fett series. Like, it would have fit more, again, in the Mando series. And so just for that, it doesn't... And the fact that Luke and Boba they're in the same show, right? Like, it would be hilarious if they ended up, like, meeting, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Boba, last time we saw you were, flying into the side of Jabba's barge. But it overall, it was a fun episode. I did enjoy seeing Cobb Vanth again because I did really like his character from Mando.
Love it.
It was very heavy on the cameos, which was okay.
It was Filoni and Favreau. Like, Favreau and Filoni hadn't co-written an episode yet, so like, it was their show.
Filoni directed it.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that.
That's why I knew we were gonna get Ahsoka.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know that we needed her to move. I mean, she was the vessel to carry the gift for Grogu. That was really it. I mean, I guess she convinced Mando to
not see him.
To not see him, but
still handed him a gift. So, like,
So she served her purpose. Great. Awesome. I'm very excited for the Ahsoka show.
It was super awesome to see her and Luke on the same screen.
It was very cool.
Like, never happened.
And just
the
the quip about, you're like your father. It's like,
I wanted Sky Guy so bad, and we didn't get it. But I wanted her to say it, but at the same time, it'd be really weird. So,
oh yeah, because Luke has no clue what that means.
No.
That would be purely fan service for anyone who's seen Clone Wars. Yeah. So, overall, enjoyable episode.
Yeah.
Some parts are like, does it need to be here? To your point, and we've been really into Encanto lately, and it's like the last 2 episodes have all been, we don't talk about Boba, no. We don't talk about Boba. And it's like, where is he? Like, he's safe. We know he's safe because we've seen him. But
I just want more.
Like, and I, it's clear. And so we'll go into what do we think is going to happen both this week and subsequently. But I mean, the first thing is Grogu's choice between Mando and training. I feel like he's going to get to do both, like, long term. But in the immediacy, I'm hoping that he picks the saber. I don't want Grogu with Mando anymore. I want Mando to do his own thing. I want Mando to go back to Mandalore. I want him to do that without Grogu. Grogu has served his purpose. He's in shaping Mando for his character.
I mean, he did. Yeah. I mean, he softened him up a little bit, and he made him realize that. I mean, there's
like he could be
a love for life,
a formative leader.
Yeah.
Because of the empathy he's been given and taught and all that stuff. Like, I feel like for his character, Grogu has served his purpose. Now, from a merchandise standpoint, don't get me wrong. I realize Disney want to shove him everywhere, and that's fine. You can still sell plenty of Grogu merch and not have him in the show.
Yeah.
My son has like 12 things that are.
I mean, they might as well honestly just make a spin-off for that.
They probably could.
Which is probably what they're going to do. I
felt like these 2 episodes were tests for, no joke, for different possible spin-off shows, like, or spin-off arcs, miniseries of, Cobb Vanth or Cad Bane getting his own series. Oh my God, that would be amazing. But as far as Grogu's concerned,
as long as he's in it, yeah, it'd be good.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Sorry.
Oh, that's mean. So I hope Grogu picks the saber.
Yeah.
Because I think that they could maybe in the Ahsoka show visit on occasion. They could reincorporate him at different points through some of the shows that are coming down the pipeline.
And if he picks a saber, Luke might come to senses and say, "Well, this will really protect you. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't I just give it to you?" Kind of thing. Which is why that's what blows my mind about the choice he gave. Like, yes, you can pick this, but you have to rejoin him, even though it was a gift. So I understand the attachment piece, and I understand the Jedi way and all that stuff. But I'm like, this is something that will actually protect him from saber strikes, and it's going to be under whatever he's wearing, which is the big Jedi thing, right? Because I did have a discussion with somebody about armor being worn and how that's very defensive. And I said, it's kind of offensive sometimes, or it can be perceived as being offensive because there may not be a threat around you. So if you're in armor, you're the threat. Versus a Jedi carries a lightsaber, which is only supposed to be used as a defensive weapon. It remains hidden at all times unless needed. They don't show it unless they need to. Mm-hmm. So it is truly a defensive weapon. So this Beskar would be purely defensive because it's going to be underneath whatever he's wearing, or it should be at least.
He's not going full. He's not going full Middle Ages Jedi on this.
Right. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Give him a Mando helmet, but have it cut out, and then he's wearing his chainmail over the top, and then he can ride in on a little like Womp Rat and say we ride at dawn with his lightsaber drawn.
Oh goodness. Let's just make up our own show.
I can dream.
Let's do it.
But
Let's
you're,
make 'em-
you're right. Like,
Yeah.
Armor. I can think of Kenobi
Yeah.
in his Clone Wars armor. Now Kenobi's style was very defensive. He had a very defensive combat style. But you're right. You don't see armor much aside from Kenobi and Tar Vizsla would have had his Mando armor too. So you're right. I don't know why he's being forced to, and he doesn't have to tell him where it came from. Like, I mean, Grogu presumably he's not dumb. He's connected to the Force. He knows where it comes from. But I mean, he did tell him you have to go back to the Mando.
And you could tell he sensed that Mando was there too. Like, I mean, the way they shot it, you could tell that Grogu knew that. Oh, he's leaving.
Right, and well, I mean, he also showed the ship blast off. He's like, hey, look, your friend left you. But
you
here,
suck.
But here, he left you a present. You don't have to tell him these things, and create additional attachment if it's such a bad thing.
Right.
And it goes back to I saw this the Grogu sort of quote reemerged. Let me see if I can find it. I took a picture of it the other day so I wouldn't forget it. But it's Grogu talking to his own Padawan and about attachment. It says, Master Grogu thought Jedi were not supposed to form attachments. It says attachments do not lead to the dark side. Fear of losing them does. I do not understand. You can be attached to something but not fear to lose it. Lose it? And Grogu says, treasure those around you while you can and rejoice when they return to the Force. Padawan says, you mean when they die? And death is a natural part of life. I wish it weren't, but it is. And once you accept that, the dark side will never take you. And
that sounds like some Master Yoda stuff right there.
Right, but it's Master Grogu, and the picture is him with the Mando, the knob, the ball knob.
Yeah.
And so, the Padawan says, I have to live knowing that life and death are inseparable. It sounds impossible. Master Grogu gently touches his pauldron. No, Padawan, it is not impossible. It is the way. And so I feel like
his pauldron. That's so.
So like I feel like they could let that happen. That whole, you don't have to be afraid of attachment. You can understand that.
But that's not the Jedi way.
I know. Well, Yoda understood
from the books.
It. Yeah, right.
Else, yeah.
Right, exactly. Right, from the text.
Yeah.
And so
that's why Yoda burned them.
The sacred text.
What did he say? Easy reading? Or no, he said page turners, they were not.
Yes.
That's what he said, yes.
Right. So which one do you think he's going to pick?
I think for the show's sake, he's going to pick the Beskar.
Okay.
And Luke is going to return him, which sucks. Because I wish he would pick the saber also, because I think down the line he would be both. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they built the seat for him already, so I just assume he's going to head back to Mando.
That seat existed before, because the droids sat behind them.
Right. But
they added the dome. They added the dome.
They added the dome. They took out the droid seat because she even mentioned like, you don't like droids, so I took it out.
Fair.
So I think that's what's going to happen for the show, and
I just don't know what point it serves.
Merchandise. So that's it. So just play on that and move on. So I don't really have to any other reason, because I think he should explore Mandalore alone as a Mandalorian, and probably not even alone, probably with other Mandalorians.
Well, I expect to see Bo back and Casca and all those, even potentially seeing the armor and like the covert come back.
It really looks like there's not much left on Mandalore, though. Boba was not wrong. Like when he described it, like, why would you go back there? There's nothing left. That kind of sucks, because you were hoping that it was opposite of that, but seeing those flashbacks does not give you.
That was intense.
Yeah.
That was an intense flashback of the Night of a Thousand Tears.
Anyway, real quick, IMDb gave that episode a 9.5.
Okay.
And I think that's just from all the. You saw Luke, Ahsoka, R2, Cad. You had 4 huge cameos.
Training droid.
And the training droid. Yep, can't forget the training droid.
And Cobb. And yeah, Cobb too.
And Cobb. And the cabbie. No, and the Cobb. So you had 6 huge cameos that people enjoyed seeing. So I think that's why I got just the high rating. And honestly, like I said before, fantastic episode. Was not bored. I was not bored 1 minute. I didn't. I like same thing as episode 5. It was 45 minutes of greatness. I just want more Boba because I'm selfish. And like I said, if you're like, you need to get over it. Okay, that's fine. You can go watch your own show. Like, I'm still enjoying the show, and I would never steal someone else's enjoyment. But to say I want to watch Boba Fett in his title
in a show that's called the Book of Boba Fett,
I'm not being selfish.
No.
I feel like I signed on for that. It's like, if I watch The Flash on CW, who do I want to watch? You know, like, I mean, I'm sorry that that's my attitude towards it, but unfortunately, every other show ever made, that's what it is.
Well, and I feel like, certain things they could have had, for example, at the end of episode 5, instead of having Fennec, they could have had Boba. Like, they could have had him come and ask him to come fight for him.
Yeah, but, Mando didn't shoot Boba in the stomach. No, neither did Mando. It was the other guy.
Oh, right.
It was
a
smuggler. So.
Oh, right. Exactly. And so, and I mean, you could have incorporated Boba a bit more even in the planning scene, and had him do the exposition instead of Fennec. And it's nothing against Fennec, but again, to your point, it's a Boba Fett show, and we've gone an hour and a half. That's a feature-length film without your star character doing anything.
Yeah.
You existing on screen for all of a minute of that 90 minutes. I mean, that's very surprising.
Well, episode 5, did he recruit Chrysanthemum?
No, that was at the end of episode 4, because he had torn off the guys. He had torn off the trained oceans.
We talked about that last episode.
Like, I went through and I
was hoping. I was just seriously hoping.
The only time he says anything is actually in the recap of episode 4. So episode 5, episode 6, he says no words, and he's in it for all of that 2-minute planning scene. And then we quickly cut away, and Mando leaves and goes and visits Cobb Vanth. So it's just and I understand patience and building. The thing is that, I mean, at this point, it's almost obvious there's going to be a second season.
Right.
But coming into this, nobody knew that. Like, it was originally supposed to be 8 episodes. It was shortened to 7. I don't know why they did that.
I can only imagine COVID, like something happened. I mean, something had to happen, I would assume. But the other thing is, too, that I understand is you have to pass the torch to, and which, to be honest, the torch has been passed. It's Mando's helmet on the opening credit reel, like with the Star Wars, and they go over the helmets and the droids. Yeah. Like, it's Mando. It's not Boba's helmet. It's Mando. So Mando is the feature character in the Star Wars universe right now, outside of Ahsoka. I mean, obviously the Bad Batch is just started, but Mando, from a live action standpoint, is the face of the franchise along with Ahsoka now. Mm-hmm. So I totally get that they got to plug their guy, but I signed on for something different. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. And like I said, it's still, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't the Book of Boba, if this was Mando's episode 1 and 2, I'd be like 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
But I'm dropping it down because I want more of my guy, selfishly.
Well, and so pivoting off that, you've got what is setting up for the season finale, and presumably the lead into season 2, because of what Cad says about not messing with the Syndicate. He's working with the Pikes. You, unless they go all out Game of Thrones and throw everything into the last episode, which is highly unlikely, fingers crossed, there's no way that they can resolve everything in this last episode. So there has to be a season 2. And so it's setting up for Boba versus the Syndicate, which is cool, which is awesome. Right. Now the question is, what does that leave for the season finale? So what
can you have an all-out war in one episode? Honestly,
and resolve it properly?
You know what you can do? You can have one duel, champion versus champion.
You think it's going to be Boba versus Cad?
I think it might be. Oh gosh. Oh.
See, that worries me because
I want more Cad.
I want more Cad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think now is the time for Cad.
They probably won't do it, but it would be a thing. Like, I mean, because the same thing as Jabba did. I'll send Chrysanthemum out.
Yeah, that's That is true. But given what happened basically at the end of the episode, and the attack on Madame Garza's place,
Oh yeah, they're gonna.
there has to be retaliation. And so the question is, where does he go? What are they going to target? Because if the Pikes are like operating, they don't really have a base, right? So what are you going to target of theirs to retaliate against? And so, I mean, I think we're in for a big action, big battle sort of. I mean, you can't have a big battle because they got 4 soldiers. 3.
They've got more.
They have Mando,
They got the
Fennec.
mods. They got like 10 mods.
Please, what are they going to do? Ride their Vespa scooters and run people's feet over? No, they aren't. They're going to get shot off their bikes if they enter a war zone.
Yeah, I mean, Cobb Vanth's going to bring some people. It'll be interesting.
But
We'll
that
see.
turnaround won't
I
make
mean,
any sense.
That
that
Rancor is going to be huge.
But again, you're riding a Rancor into a battle. Yes, they're huge, they're big, they're powerful, but you can shoot them and take them out.
I'm just gonna say
they're not
got,
war beasts. They're not
got-
like they're not like Hannibal riding the elephants across the mountains. Okay, they're not. They're not war elephants.
It's true.
So I don't think that they can do that. So they got to set it up. Did you like the historical?
It was so
reference?
good, but I got timeout.
So, I mean, I don't think that you can't set that up in that period of time. So, I think that we're going to end up seeing some sort of kind of quick hit and run retaliatory strike against the Pikes, kind of to send the message that, hey, I'm Boba, I'm in charge. And then that in and of itself will set us up for season 2. Now, what kind of season 2 would it look like? Is it going to be an all-out turf war? Are they going to be, snapping their fingers and doing dance numbers down the street? I don't know. But if I can get more Cad, either some this next episode or, frankly, like I said, I'd like to see him get his own series, because I think that would be, based on what we've seen in Bad Batch, and now even just a couple minutes in Book of Boba, I think that you're going to get, again, people will eat it up. So if we can get a Cad series to spin off of this, to spin out of this, I mean, I think Boba will have done his job. Like you said, he's already handed off the mantle, or handed off the torch to Mando, kind of as the premier Mandalorian,
Mandalorian,
bounty hunter. But I think with Cad, again,
There's so much they can do with him still.
and he's a great villain, like a great bounty. Like, he could be a great villain.
And not just that, but people are excited to see him, which I think is the biggest thing. That's why they're bringing in these characters, because they know people are excited to see Cad, Luke, Ahsoka. Like, they know those are the characters that we want to see, so that's why they're bringing them into the fold, and rightfully so. We're in their, like, for Luke, we're in his prime. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine not getting down the road a Luke Skywalker bridge, so to speak. Like, we're gonna get a show. Now, how they feature him, how they have him acted, how they have him voiced, we'll see what happens. But why wouldn't they cash in? It's Disney. They want that.
I hope they don't do that.
The
deep fake in small doses is fine. It's tolerable. But if you have to watch an entire season of CGI face Luke on, and it kind of goes back to what we talked about before, where the actor playing him is going to get no recognition whatsoever, other than being the vessel for deep fake Luke face and voice.
Well, at some point, and I know what Mark Hamill got was the credit for the voice again, but they're gonna have to find someone that has the voice also. I mean, it's gonna happen. Like, because they're de-aging his voice. It's not his voice speaking through it.
No, they're not de-aging it. They're building it.
They're
from
building
clips,
it from clips,
from audio,
right.
from interviews, from
Everything.
from everything.
But that's what I'm saying. So they're building that. So like eventually, like why wouldn't you just go get somebody that can have that voice? There's so many talented voice actors that can make that happen. And nothing to, believe me, it's not like I don't want Mark Hamill to play Luke Skywalker. But the fact is, he can't play a 25 or 30-year-old Luke Skywalker anymore. Like, I'm sorry, he cannot do that. So, you got to find somebody that has the voice. At minimum, find somebody that has the voice. The looks and the voice together, never going to happen. But you're gonna have to find an actor that has the look, that maybe gets a little tweak, like touch-ups, and then you got to find a voice for him that we're not rehashing from everything else, because it's just not right. I mean, and it doesn't look right unless they fix it, which technology is still improving. Maybe they
could easily fix it, I'm sure.
Like I said, the deep fake looked much better this time than it did last time. So like in just that short time, they fixed that. Like no one's griping about how he looked. It's just how he sounded and what it looked like with his lips. So like they might fix that. They might be able to fix that in a year. We don't know. And we won't know until it comes out.
Right.
But I'm hoping we get more Luke Skywalker, because I think bringing some fans back around to the Disney envelope, so to speak, because they felt like they were wronged for the sequel trilogy. And I mean, believe me, I'm the first one to say, get over it.
Wronged.
Yeah. But you know, like some fans feel like Disney didn't do what they should have.
They wasted Han and Luke.
Right, but
and Leia to an extent. But
and some fans feel like the first Solo movie was waste. So
that was a waste. Or it was wasted.
If they built on it,
it was unfairly
Yes.
sandwiched between films that didn't do well, and it got unfairly criticized for it.
Right, which I 100% agree with. But yeah, and they didn't flesh out the story afterwards, which they left wide open.
Yes, they were planning on the sequel.
Right. They really wanted it. So I think that, and they tried to fix it. So like, that's just it. But you can't just have it happen. Like it has to be the right time. It has to be the right characters. It has to be, the right actors. It has to be the right story. And I think they're going to get there. They're not there yet. And they don't need to be yet, because they've got a year full of, and honestly, when Boba Season 2 gets announced, which it should get announced, I mean, you're going to have a year and a half to 2 years of solid content coming out for Disney Plus shows that we don't need anything else. There's nothing else we need right now. So they've got time to figure it out.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get that confirmation that Season 2 is getting picked up like Thursday? Or Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Didn't they do that with Loki during on the season finale?
Loki will be back.
Yeah, Season 2 is coming. Because I would not be surprised if they do some sort of post-credit scene teasing what's to come in Season 2.
I would think,
because there's no way it can end here.
It's too much to close out. Like it would be so rushed, and it would be wrong.
Well, and it kind of goes back to Bad Batch when they introduced the Pikes, right? And they're like, we're all like, why are they introducing the Pikes? Well, it's now cascaded over into Boba, and I would like to see like Roland Durant in like a Book of Boba. Well, I mean, he would be much older, right? But I mean, now we could get the Durant crime family in.
Or you want the Marquez sisters?
I mean, that would be okay.
Why not?
Again, it would be they would be much older,
right?
If you brought them to Boba, but there's just, I feel like this first season, it's obviously been building something. It's been laying the groundwork for something, and there's no way that they can finish it in one episode. Like what's left to go. There's going to be more. And so I don't want to say it's unfortunate that it was set up like this, because it was sold as the Boba series. And so I think if a lot of people like you and me to some extent feel cheated, because you were expecting one thing only to be kind of given a base, a foundation of what's to come. and as long as they use that and utilize the sweat equity well, I think people will be fine with it. Like it was like watching episode 1 and 2, one first, you're like, this is kind of crummy. Episode 2, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, if they're doing that for this whole season, and then they blow it up next season, awesome, fine, cool.
And there's a lot of stuff they can still do with the characters that they've set up and the syndicates. I mean, there's so much that we can do with the syndicates, and you can still have a final reveal in the finale too, which I'm hoping happens. I really hope one person shows up specifically to come down and I want to see them stop the war, so to speak. Which is what I think is going to happen, because I think they're going to prepare for war. But I think one person is going to show up that says, "We're not doing this here. This is how it's going to play out." And I'm thinking that's going to happen. And then we're still going to have like some territory wars in a future season. But
are you thinking? Let's see, one person you said, huh?
Yeah, one person I think might still show up.
Is it somebody we know?
Yeah, it's a live action character that we've seen before. I mentioned a movie they were in earlier.
Oh, Maul. No, it can't be Maul.
He gone.
Right. Kira.
Yeah,
it's gotta be Kira.
I'm thinking and she.
Not Maul.
He gone.
He
gone. But I mean, as an actress, she said that she would love to reprise the role, and there was so much more left in that character, she felt. So I would love to see her show up.
If we're not going to get a Solo 2, please give us Kira and Crimson Dawn in Boba.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that we get that in Bad Batch, and we probably still could.
Right.
But yeah, to get
there's gotta be
Amelia Clark.
I don't feel like, because they can't do a full war in one episode.
Correct.
It's not Game of Thrones. They can't do like.
Wouldn't that be ironic though if it was?
They can't do the whole battle in one. I mean, there are episodes of Game of Thrones that are absolutely excellent, that are a battle for the whole hour. But when we've been building up this one thing in a Star Wars universe for this long, it's not a 45-minute thing.
I mean, you got to think that Crimson Dawn's pulling the strings with the Pikes.
Somewhere they are,
right? So,
because they need the spice to run. So that's why I think we're going to end up with someone bigger coming down and saying, "All right, so this is what's going to happen. This is how things are going to go. Either you accept, or maybe we'll get another ultimatum. Who knows?" But I'm thinking that we have one more big bad to drop in still, because all the cameos couldn't have landed right here. In the penultimate
that would be
episode.
kind of deflating if you built to this and then
I need one more big cameo, and I think that's it. But I've been wrong before, so I mean, I thought we were gonna get. Never mind. I'm just not gonna.
We don't talk. Yeah, again, we don't talk about Boba, but I mean, I'm excited to see what comes Wednesday. How they close it out. Real quick. I know we got the announcement yesterday that Kenobi's dropping in May.
Oh, May.
As expected.
So good.
As expected. So there'll be a bit of a lull in TV content here after next week, which is great. And give us some time to delve into some other topics, which will be fun. But the Kenobi show, or the Kenobi the poster, the teaser poster. I believe that was legit, not fan made, but.
It looked good.
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't come out on May 4th. So that'll be the next thing on the horizon after Wednesday, after Book of Boba wraps up.
I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to work. I mean, May the 4th obviously makes the most sense to launch it, but with Celebration being 4 weeks after that, it's going to hurt so bad, because we're going to have, is May the 4th, what day is that this year? Do we know?
It is.
Is it a Friday?
It's a Wednesday, I think, because it was a Tuesday last year, and this is not a leap year. So yeah, I think it's Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday. So if they have Wednesday releases, that means we're gonna get episode.
We'll get 4 episodes.
4?
Or no, we'll get 3. 4.
We'll get
11.
Yeah, we'll get
18.
4. We'll have
get 4 episodes.
4 episodes before Celebration. So Wouldn't it be so cool if they were like, "Hey, you guys are all here. We're gonna show you the last two." No, I'm kidding. They wouldn't do that.
Would be wild.
They wouldn't do that. But I do assume we're gonna get a panel for Kenobi somewhere in there, which would be freaking awesome, along with Mando and Book of Boba, because
And
season
Andor
2's coming. Andor,
There's probably going to be an Andor panel.
Gosh, I'm looking so like it's gonna be a great show. I can't wait till May.
Yeah, till Memorial Day.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, boy. But overall, super excited to see the finale of Book of Boba. Super excited about the shows upcoming. I don't think there's anything on the dock that I'm like, I could do without that, because honestly, I want to see it all.
It's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars, yeah.
Any Star Wars, more or less, is good Star Wars for me personally.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that 100%.
So even if sometimes, it disappoints us, or it doesn't give us maybe what we're exactly expecting.
Yeah, it's not even disappointing. That's the worst part. Like the episodes we just got have been
they've been great. They've been
fantastic, and showed scenes that I'm just like, I never thought I was going to get that on live action screen. I never thought, especially on Disney Plus, I never thought I would get that opening Mando scene. I never thought that.
Well, and you get the Easter eggs, you get the Phantom Menace callbacks, you
all
get
of
the Naboo Starfighter, you get, like you said, Luke. Ahsoka.
Not that I didn't want Cad in live action. I just don't know if I ever thought I was actually going to get him.
I didn't think it was going to happen in Book of Boba. I thought maybe we might get it in Mando, but it makes sense that he would be. That he would be in this.
He knows
him
Boba.
Him and Boba have a history.
Yeah.
And they have the unwritten history of Cad giving Boba the dent in his helmet. So, or the unreleased history of that. So, it's been a fun ride so far. Episode 5 and 6 were a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
I'm really hoping the season finale lives up to the hype. Anything else on that topic?
Yeah, I don't have a ton. I mean, the only other news I have, some collector news. If you're looking for Dark Troopers, they're getting announced on the 8th of February. I think they go live at noon Central Time. So set your clocks according to your time
on
zone.
Hasbro.
I think everywhere will go live, because it's not an exclusive anywhere. So that's gonna be a deluxe figure. They look good. They've got the flames attached to them. It looks like they've got like flame attachments that they can go on. So overall, the Trooper looks great. I also think the deluxe Boba on Tatooine goes live for the throne room. I think that goes live also on the 8th. That's a Walmart exclusive though, so everybody good luck. And then I think that's the big thing. I mean, those are the big figures. We haven't gotten too many big reveals yet this year for the Black Series. I'll just leave it at the fact that I think we have 35 figures announced so far this year already, as far as that have gone up for pre-order either last year or already this year. And the complaint currently is we just keep getting repaints and resculpts of the same figures. So we do have some new ones, which everyone's very excited about. But overall, I think it's about 55 or 60% either repainted sculpts or the same character and just a different armor or something like that. So it's collectors it's getting tough out there, because people are getting a little upset with some of the Hasbro choices. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, people still spend money on it, so they're gonna keep doing what they're doing because people buy it. Yeah.
Are they gonna make a Chrysanthemum fig, you think?
I hope so. I think, did I send you guys that?
You sent me
It was hilarious.
that meme was hilarious.
That was from a collector's page I'm on. So
talking about repainting,
I'll tell everybody, it was literally a Chewie picture of Chewie, and the guy from Hasbro is sitting on the other side of the meme saying, "It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be so great. Look at that. Like, look at the look at the color. Look at the detail. Blah blah blah." And on the other side, it was a picture of Chewie with black Sharpie, basically just all the way down.
MS Paint.
And it was rough. And hopefully not. Hopefully we do get a Black Chrysanthemum, because I love that character, and I think he's going to do big things, and I hope we get to see a lot more of him. But I do want that character as a figure in the line somewhere. So super excited about that. Hopefully we get him soon. I'm still missing the new wave. I don't have Fennec on the shelf yet. I don't have Tython Boba yet. Like, there's figures in the collection missing because shipments.
Because of
Just
supply chain
shipments. But yeah, no, that's it for collector news from the Star Wars Black Series line. We're getting a lot of vintage collection figures coming out soon. Also, I know they're launching vintage collection Din Djarin on. Is it Modak? No, it's what's the
Minoc? No, not Minoc.
boy? It's him in the Imperial trooper gear, the driver gear.
Yes, with
I cannot remember the name of the planet now, but it's his. It is him unmasked with
Migs,
with
or
Migs
when they
were in disguise. So
gotcha.
Cool figure coming out soon. Oh, going on pre-order on the 8th also. And yeah, but that's all I got for collector news.
That's tomorrow.
It is on Tuesday, February 8th. Yes, that's accurate.
So yeah, and Lego news, we got the official confirmation of the next 3 helmet series. The next 3 helmets in the sort of helmet series, you get Red 5 Luke, Mando's Beskar helmet, and the Dark Trooper head. I guess it's not so much a helmet. The Dark Trooper one is a Target exclusive. I believe the other 2 are going to be it'll be Target, and I think you could probably buy it on Lego too. But I think the other 2 are more widely available. I will personally be getting the Red 5 one. Probably not going to do Mando. I may pick up a couple Dark Troopers just to hold on to, because the TIE Fighter pilot helmet, which recently retired, was a Target exclusive, and from a secondary market perspective, it is doing quite well. So I may pick up 1 to build and a couple to hold on to from a collecting perspective. I think we also got the hallway scene announced with Luke, and it comes with 3 Dark Trooper minifigures, which has upset a lot of people because you used to only be able to get a Dark Trooper minifigure in the Moff Gideon Star Cruiser. So that was like a $50 fig, and now it's going to be available in a $30 set
Worldwide
with 3 of them.
Yeah,
in the pack. So it's going to drive that down, which is great because, they'll be great for army building. And I mean, who doesn't want to build this crazy hallway scene with, 12, 15 Dark Trooper minifigs and, play out the scene with Luke. And I think it's supposed to be a new Luke. Like, everything's going to be the same. I'm sure they're going to make a new torso or new leg pattern, and it'll be new. So they haven't released the upcoming May the 4th stuff that I'm aware of. I'm going to have to double check that. But yeah, Lego Star Wars, it's got some good stuff coming in the pipeline. And we just got the Skywalker Saga trailer finally. So that game will be coming out, and I can't wait to play it. So that's about it for Lego and / gaming news, aside from the 3 announcements that we got for Star Wars games, but we don't have a whole lot of information on them yet. So
no, we almost have nothing really.
Right.
So.
Like, one's, I think, Fallen Order 2, there's a shooter, and I think there's an RPG. So as details become available, we'll share those.
Yes, we will.
So with that, I think we'll bring this episode to a close. We want to thank all of you for listening. If you enjoy the content, please consider sharing it on your social media platforms of choice. And be sure to catch us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find those links in the show notes. And with that, for Jedi-John, I'm Obi-Sean. And until next time,
may the Force be with you.